Lyrical spiritual style. Lyrical spiritual style.
And then just a bunch of, the solo works.
That's all vinyl right there. Huh?
This is all vinyl. Yeah, these are all records.
Yeah.
I got more records than all this old shit, and
Bro, your catalog is deep. Your catalog is admirable, man. It's so deep.
I appreciate that, and likewise, man. You know what I'm saying? I told you, I love all the stuff that you have, done and accomplished. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to catch up with you, big dog.
the new records, man, is so dope. The what's that record that you did with Controller? The sofa,
the couch,
sofa couch.
The sofa couch.
The sofa couch. I mean, it's one and the same. But no, that record is super dope, man. And then even the new one you just dropped, I haven't zoned on the new one as much as I did that last one. But I'm looking forward to bumping it because I know I picked up the vinyl. I had to support. You know what I mean? You put out the record.
Appreciate that, bro. I really appreciate that. Hell yeah. I can't thank you enough. But enough about me, brother. Big Gel Roc in the house.
What up, y'all?
I appreciate you doing this, man. But just to give them a rundown, you if you want to give them a rundown of who you are, if they don't know already,
Yeah,
you're an underground legend, and I'm sure most of the people who watch my channel know who you are. So
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, original Gel Roc, you know what I'm saying? E×2 crew, Mass Men, The Cloaks, Exalt the Anti, you know what I'm saying? And Life Seen Differently crew. And but those are the crews you might know me from. Project Blowed, you know what I'm saying? That's the camp. But big ups to everybody. Big ups to Mestizo, man, brother. Appreciate you so much.
Hell yeah, I appreciate you, bro. And so let's start here. Where are you from originally? Whittier?
Yeah, Whittier, La Mirada. Those are neighboring cities for people that know. 562 shit.
Yeah.
I think we were one of the first cities to be dubbed when it changed from 213-310 area code to 562. So like I know that like when you talk about that OE×2 shit, I made sure like that was one of the first things that we stamped. You know what I'm saying? 562.
Right,
like I know a lot of things came from that. Anyhow, back to the original question. Yeah, Whittier, La Mirada. That's where I went to high school, and I met basically everybody that would become crew. Not everybody, but like many heads. You know what I'm saying? Whittier,
a lot of the LSD dudes.
Yeah, the LSD heads. You know what I'm saying? Like, most of us started like with the crews that the minor league crews. Back then they weren't minor league. They were like we didn't know what it was. You know what I'm saying? We were just in these other crews, and then finally started realizing over time the heavyweights of these crews graduated to the LSDs. So it was more like in hindsight we saw it that way. You know what I mean?
So you started out graph writing, or you started out rapping?
I think I rapped back in the day. I rapped first, but I never took it seriously. I didn't have nobody to record me, so that wasn't anything that I took serious. You know what I'm saying? It was just like some shit that you did as a kid. You know what I'm saying? First, I describe it as like, when we were young, hearing all the shit that we were listening to growing up, and then like you first wrote down your first name, last initial rap, my name's Chris B, and I'm on them, all that type of shit.
Yeah.
So that don't really count. You know what I'm saying? But like technically, I was.
Hey, bro, it counts. It counts to me, bro.
Some people, yeah. Oh, okay. So it started there. You know what I'm saying? I went through all that kind of. Everything, all those skateboarding, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't a great skater. I was more like a poser, but I had a tough crew. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I just hung with heavyweights, right? So they were like really dope. I was like motor transportation, less mob, you know what I mean? But fools were killing it. So I went through all that phase and and got into graph. I met heads in high school. Tommy, Tommy, and a bunch of heads, man. And we just, you know what I'm saying? I could tell like back then, that we were all coming up. Like we were all like everybody had a strong personality. You know what I'm saying? Like AWOL, like I didn't hang with him at first in high school. We kind of came around through like party crews and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then finding out like later, like, oh, you rap too. And we already knew we were already from the same graffiti crew. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? TB,
Yeah.
Trouble's Back was a crew like that was kind of like, you know, formed as sort of like, you know, the farm system for LSDs and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Unsaid. It wasn't said, but that's what it turned out to be. You know what I mean?
So when did LSD start? Did that start in high school?
And it started in 1989, originally BAS, Bombing All Suckers.
Yeah.
And then in 91, like shortly thereafter, it went to Leaving Suckers Dead, Lynching Suckers Daily, you know, Leaving Shit Destroyed, all that shit, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, so that was like the first generation, like 91.
It's a trip, man, because I never knew like till later that you were a graph writer too. I always thought you were just an MC, and then I saw your pieces. I was like, "Damn, my fool could get down."
A word, man.
Busy, bro.
Yeah, word. It grew over time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we were all knucklehead, just taggers, and you know what I'm saying. I didn't have, you know, people that know me locally in the old school graph scene, like I didn't conduct myself with any type of mannerisms. I was just gang banging on fools, like what you saying? You know what I mean? Like, you know, that type of shit.
Tag banging.
Yeah, I mean, you know, without tag banging, but it was just like how it was the culture then. You know what I'm saying? That was the times. You were coming from party crews. You know what I'm saying? Rocking Ben Davis and looking how we looked and shit. You know what I'm saying? And you know, now we're tagging. So I mean, it was, you know, we went through but luckily the crew, you know, like we had, like nobody ever, we were too dope to say tag banging, let alone tag banging was the term.
That's kind of a diss to somebody who writes. Yeah,
that's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we had enough dynamic crew. I mean, Courtney, you know, Existerios from the crew. He wasn't tag banging. You know what I'm saying? Like we had the artists. We had Elika. You know, this is a portrait of a bunch of LSDs. You know what I'm saying? Look, that's Tommy right there in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Me and AWOL. This is from old shit. This is from like, that's an old photo of us from Rose Hills Cemetery, you know what I mean, for one of the homies. But anyhow, yeah, man. So, you know, the term tag banging, I believe the first time I ever heard it was when it came up on the Fox 11 graffiti special that they did back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And it had, they were like focusing on, you know, saying Euler was in there, you know what I'm saying? The SDK, the party crews and the tag banging shit. Courtney was in there hitting up CBS LSD in that same special. You know what I'm saying? So that I never heard tag banging until that special, like that term. And then it like was wildfire after it hit Fox 11. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we had the homies that were LSDs and also Southside Whittier. You know what I'm saying? So Compton, Los Padrinos. You know what I'm saying? Like we had heads, like there were gang members in the crew, and then there was just the art heads of the crew, and that's what made our crew very dynamic.
That's a very Cali thing in my experience, man. All the graffiti writers I knew, most of them had associations to some sort of set, some sort of hood, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So when did you actually start taking rapping serious? Did you take rap serious first, or you take rapping serious first?
I took graffiti serious, you know, because when I got to high school, you know, it's kind of like, you know, I was into sports, but bullshit happened. You know, I hung out with the Vandals. You know what I'm saying? That's the choice I made. So, you know, I became a Vandal. So I was heavy into it right out the gate because I was with heavyweights. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, you were with some serious hits.
Yeah, we weren't. You know, you were all in. So you know what I mean. So we were doing that, and then and like I would just freestyle. Like we knew certain heads, like DJ Drez, right? Drez used to write. He used to write Boyk from DCV, Def Crown Villains. And so like he was just doing mixtapes, and like, you know, here I am, a youngster, we're all teenage, you know, 15, 16, you know what I'm saying? And going to each other's houses, and we go to Drez's spot. He wrote Boyk from DCV. B-O-I-K. B-O-I-K.
Boyk. Yeah.
And he was and is dope. I mean, super.
I've never seen him paint. I didn't know that he painted. That's cool.
Oh, dude, he's an old schooler too. We're talking 91, 92, 93, 94, like that generation. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good era for graph too, man.
Exactly. So like I had affiliates like that, like on some graffiti shit that like we didn't know what this scene would turn into and who we would become eventually. You know what I'm saying? We were just doing who we were. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, I would freestyle with heads, and I remember certain heads, they would come, they'd like, yo, Drez, you need to like record and do shit with Gel. You heard this fool's voice, this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? And I've told in different interviews before, when I used to rap back in the day before I started to graffiti when I was younger, I couldn't stand my voice. You know what I'm saying? My voice hadn't developed and all this, that, and the other. So then when I heard people gravitating, they're like, this fool got freestyles, he got a voice. And then later, and then like a year later, I don't know, I had been doing my thing for a minute. I met Syndrome from E times 2. That fool, like, he's like, why don't you kick it with AWOL? You know, he's recording this shit. And I was like, I didn't know that. I was like, I knew AWOL from TB and fucking the Party Crew shit, but I didn't know he was recording. I just didn't put that together yet. You know what I mean? I knew he was rapping. I didn't know where it was going. You know what I mean? I was on my shit. He was on his shit.
Right.
And then the next thing I know, he was like, you know, I want to put out a tape, which happened to be the first tape that he put out, Noise, a one-sided tape. And so, like, you know, that was it. From that point on, once I found out he was recording, we just started freestyling, and we started having all these sessions, AWOL, E times 2, Drez, like, you know what I mean? Like, we just homies, you know what I'm saying? We just smoke, drink, chill, freestyle and all that. And then eventually that tape came out, and E times 2, AWOL, everything just kind of blew up from there, because then it was 3 Eye Cows and all of that shit, you know?
Yeah, it was a snowball. I think, you know, it made a lot of sense to me when I found out that you were a graph writer. Your style started making more sense to me because you're so intricate, man. Very complex. You know, most of the graffiti writers that I know that are good graffiti writers and take rap serious, they're very complex and intricate with how they piece their words together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it made a lot of sense to me. Is that how you write? Do you write? Like, do you structure your stuff when you write it down? Do you structure it differently, or do you just write in one pattern?
Writing raps, writing songs?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it has, you know, right now I'm in a different space, to be quite frank. Right now, so like, you know, so that has evolved. I used to, when I was writing in books, mostly, you know, black books, I was all over the place. I'd write down thoughts, I'd write down ideas, I'd write in different patterns, geometric shit. Like, I'm really in,
right.
Like, I'm real symmetrical is actually what I'm looking for. So like, it would be about, my styles on a black book, not just what I'm writing, but also like how I was like entertaining myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that all that stuff would turn into stuff, though. You know, all that material would be used. Like, I very rarely have left material on the table. I mean, there's definitely stuff. I've done so much stuff, but like, it's never my intention. You know what I mean? I like to use all that creativity. So anyhow, over time that has progressed, because then it, you know, I write on my phone a lot. So if I write on my phone, it's just kind of straight writing. You know what I mean? Right. But it's crazy because I have like I think most writers, especially you're a prolific writer. We're gonna write down ideas wherever, no matter what. On a napkin,
absolutely.
You know, it is what it is. But
I don't want to waste a good idea either. You know, like, if it comes to me, I'm putting it right down. I'm stopping everything I do, and that's what I'm focusing on. You know what I
mean? There's very few things that I don't follow through on.
Right.
I'm a follow through type of person.
Well, you can tell by all that shit on your wall, bro. You got so much. You're stacked up with records. You never stop, bro.
Oh, dude, this not all of them either. I mean, you know, this is just the shit. Like, I just like I said, just moved in this spot. I got set up, and I'm like, you know, really trying to come proper with my shit right now. I'm in a good space where I could, like I told you, I could kind of reflect on things, but at the same time, keep my foot on the gas.
Now, is this at a spot? Did you build this spot like in addition to your house, or is this like a separate entity that you go to?
No, this is just my garage, man.
For real?
Yeah, look at I got a big.
This shit looks like a warehouse, bro.
I got a 200-pound cane Corso right here. He's a little, but nah, man, it's just my homie Com from LSD. He's a painter as well, like a legit like house painter. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. And so I had him just come and paint the garage and the fucking house. He just killed it. So my shit looks real proper. Appreciate it. Yeah, man. Take pride.
So I want to go back a little bit. So we were talking about, you know, how gangbanging spilled into graffiti and all that. You have Filipino, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Mexican and Filipino.
Okay. So did you grow up with Filipinos, or did you grow up mainly with Mexicans?
Um, Mexicans. I mean, it's a little bit different. So like, actually, that's kind of, I had a pretty diverse upbringing, right? So like, it's a long story, but I have family members that were musicians. They were like in rock bands and shit. And like, my family's crazy, diverse. There's like a adopted family and all this stuff. So it's like a melting pot. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Same. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's an interesting thing in itself. But when I was doing the graffiti and then high school, I was telling you, I was also hanging out with like Filipino homies that were older than me, like STS Satanas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I like, and like all my graph head homies, they knew that too about me. They were this fool's Filipino, this fool got all that shit popping off, you know what I'm saying? And as far, but my dad, I didn't really grow up, I was the oldest on both sides. So I didn't have like a lot of Mexican family, like brothers and sisters and shit.
Your dad's Mexican?
My dad's Mexican.
Okay,
my dad's Mexican. Yep.
So, you have a lot of brothers and sisters?
No, I only have one half brother and two half sisters.
Oh, shit, I got half brother and half sister too, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So they're from my dad. So, you know what I'm saying? They're the Mexican side. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. And then, yeah, man. So not many people know this though. Even me and Ab were talking today, and he's like, we were just talking about some shit, and he's like, man, nobody really knows what the fuck you are either, man. So he's like, this, that, and the other. And so I was like, yeah, Mexican and Filipino and shit. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, oh, so he was chopping it up on that shit today. Yeah, not many people know that. That's my point.
Yeah, right.
I feel like it's a small community of MCs, like Filipino MCs that know who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like there's probably like a handful.
We take pride in it though, man. I always tell people you're Filipino. I wanted to put that out there, man.
Word up, I appreciate
take pride in that for sure. Telling my boy Memphis Reigns, man, from Hawaii.
There you go.
I was telling him about you. I was like, oh yeah, Gel's Filipino too. Yeah, man. But yeah. So how did Mass Men come about? Is that the first rap crew that you guys started?
No, and I'm a later generation Mass Men. Okay. So like Mass Men started by, Fat Jack, basically his crew. And this first generation, and was Minister Too Bad, you know what I'm saying? And like DK Tune. And I mean, even a lot of people don't know Zach Goo was from Mass Men. He's a Mass Men lifer. Like
all nasty. All them dudes are nasty.
Yeah. So there's a lot of old school history. Like there's generations of Mass Men, but ultimately, even Ab is not first generation Mass Men.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, he is, but he was after all those dudes I just roll called, I believe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like he was brought in AWOL too. Like I mean, it depends on what generation gap you call that. It could be first gen. You know what I'm saying? If you're going first 20 years or whatever, because it's been longer than that. You know what I mean? So then, yeah, man. So that's a long history, man. But Fat Jack basically started the crew. It's his crew.
So the first thing you started doing was the E Times 2. Is that the first real rap records you were putting out?
Yeah, absolutely. It was E Times 2, all from those tapes, the Noise, the 3-Eyed Cows tape. That's how we arrived officially on the scene, because those were the first releases. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Official releases. And then from that point on, we just started doing all the singles and mixtapes and joining, that Tommy V became in the fold. And, you know what I mean? He was doing a bunch of compilations and posse cuts, bringing everybody together from different, Frisco and Joe Dub and, you know what I'm saying?
Were you a part of the LA to the Bay movement? You guys were a part of that whole LA to the Bay movement.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Man, that was nasty back in the day, too. Tommy was crushing it. D-Ski, all them guys, they were killing it back then, man. All you guys were killing it back then. Yeah, I remember hearing all those tapes. You guys were crushing it, man.
Word up. Yeah. I remember recording that in Half Moon Bay at D-Ski's house. You know what I'm saying?
Like, damn, that's a long time ago.
For his, it was crazy, man. I remember that was a dope trip. It was some crazy, a lot of magical shit happened, like just on the trip. You know what I mean? And then that stuff that we recorded like randomly one week when we were up there, and all those became tapes. And those were the little, the things that kept me going and got me hungry. You know what I'm saying? Because once I started hitting the road and hearing people like it was reciprocating, you know what I mean? Like people were like, yo, you know, feeling it. They were all hype on that shit. I just saw that shit grow and it just kept feeding, you know what I mean? I was just like, oh, this is what we do, you know what I mean? And it was a good outlet because at some point in around 98, 99, we got into some pretty significant trouble with the law for like the second most damage ever done to a California highway. And it was on 2020. You know, I was under 18 throwing gang signs and LSD signs in handcuffs. You know what I'm saying? Like we were on the news. Like, you know, it was a big deal. It was like we were facing some heavy, you know, California Youth Authority sentencing, and somehow it all worked out. Most, you know,
you didn't get charged for it.
I did. You know, I got the most hours ever done for JAWS program and all this. You know, we had to get lawyered up because we were facing some real shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
And so like in short, it worked out in our favor, but that helped me. It was a pivotal point because I was facing so much shit at that time that I needed music to be the outlet, and it helped me stay connected to everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then I kind of just navigated all that, and it all worked out. In the end, we are who we are. You know what I mean?
And to push you more towards music, did you start touring after that too?
Yeah. That's when that was like, it was popping. Like, you know, after we were doing local stuff. You know what I mean? We were hitting all the open mics. There was still remnants of party crews, so we were still doing backyard parties. Like, E times 2 was eating people up. You know what I mean? Like we were at like backyard parties and getting shot at for serving fools. Like you know what I mean? Like really coming after it.
Yeah.
And so then there was
shit right there.
Yeah. And then there was the open mics, and AWOL was throwing the Brainfish, and AWOL started throwing shows, right? So that's how like Circus came around. The Shapeshifters had not formed yet. You know what I'm saying? So even like the Noise tape, I don't think the Shifters had not formed. On the 3 Eye Cows tape, you had them appear as the Chainsmokers. This was their first appearance that I'm aware of as the Chainsmokers, that portion, that faction of the Shapeshifters. Yeah. And then, you know, Courtney wasn't on that tape at that time. He wasn't recording yet. So I remember Courtney like, why he was like pissed, like, how'd you let this happen? How am I not on this tape? And I was like, bro, you traveling, you're doing your thing. You know, we're in Whittier, we're doing our shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then he was pumped, and that's when Overfiends started happening, him and his brother, and Shapeshifters. Like after that tape, the 3 Eye Cows tape, I think they really re-solidified what most people today know as the Shapeshifters. Even at that point, 2Mex was not a shapeshifter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so again, it goes back to the thing about generations. Like Mech from CBS was in the original shapeshifter. You know what I'm saying? Like that's before AWOL. Like, but you know, again, the grand scheme of thing is like, well, what do you define as a generation? Because, you know, the post shapeshifters, what would come to be after the 3 Eye Cows, I think, became the true identity of the crew in the longevity perspective. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, there's all those veins of history that a lot of people don't know. You know what I mean? And now they do. Yeah.
What year was that? Like 97, 96?
I think it was 97, 96 is probably right. Yeah, man.
Okay.
That sounds right.
Because I feel that the first Shifters album came out like 98 or something. I was such a huge fan of that shit, man.
Yeah.
That shit was like, that was like a transitional period for me of going from just straight gangster rap to hearing that shit and my mind was blown by like, what the fuck is this shit? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Dude, I was just as mind blown and fanned out even being a part of it. You know what I mean? Like, because before that record came out, like I remember being so mind blown by fucking like knowing Circus through Graffiti at open mics. Like we were rapping at open mics, I think before that shit came out. And I knew of Circus's like, you know, reputation in the graffiti world as a graffiti writer before we knew each other on the mic.
Right.
And then I would come to shows and see him rapping at open mics with his long hair and like, you know what I mean? I was like a Hessian vibe, you know what I mean? And he was just, he was on what he's always been on, like, you know, and rapping like that And I'm 15, 16, about to rap next. Like, damn, this fool's on some other shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, you know, and that was graffiti shit more so, and like, but seeing him in that element. You know what I mean?
Was that when you started going to the Blow? Were you seeing him at the Blow too?
No, this was before the Blowed. I think we gravitated toward the Blowed a little bit later. We went to the Blowed initially, the E times 2 and AWOL. Battling and trying to earn the stripes and just make a name, you know what I'm saying, at first. And it really didn't become like more of a home, a second home to be more appropriate, you know what I mean, till like the mid 2000s, because at that point we had already been putting in all this work and all this, you know what I'm saying? And E times 2, quite frankly, did not stay that course, you know what I'm saying? Like E times 2 is Whittier, LSD, like we always sort of been, you know, the what do you call it, like, you know, the outliers or whatever, you know what I'm saying, like the would-be faction, right? Like E times 2 did not go to the Blowed to claim the Blowed, you know what I'm saying? There was a thought that was like, we're our own thing and we don't need to be stamped or under an umbrella, you know what I mean? And for me, it just developed because of all the time that I spent, like, but even though we spent time, like AWOL, E times 2, we'd be in the studio with Fat Jack and Ab and all them at the Massman Point of Origin. And so me just being persistent with my work, I was constantly around them, where it was like, Gel's Massman, Roach the DJ is Massman. You motherfuckers are always around doing work and you're always, you know what I mean? So it was just more natural in that sense, how when that came to be, you know, and being a Blowed representative and all of that, you know what I'm saying? It just became over time, like grandfathered motherfucking in, like, fool, you're here, your Project Blowed. And this was like, obviously an honor, you know what I mean? But it was more organic, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, you know, how some people might gravitate towards things with intention or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you did it for respect. And I can respect that, you know. That's cool, man. Damn, I didn't know that was the mid 2000s. So I was out in LA when you were hitting the Blow.
Yeah, I mean, we stopped going, I think, like before the swim team generation, when all those, like that was another generation. They were younger than us.
Mm-hmm.
So like we had already kind of sunsetted and we're doing our own shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then they came in and I was like looking like, damn, it's another generation, because I didn't know them at first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like by that time we were on some other shit. We were already on some other shit. So I don't know. I'm not great with years, but wherever that timeline fits in.
Were you still painting at that time? Like, were you still getting up?
Yeah, for sure, man. Painting for me is something that I'm never gonna stop doing. It's just a matter of, at this point, I don't feel balanced when I'm not painting. You know what I'm saying? Like I paint for balance. I can't, like, I'm always busy doing something. You know what I mean? Even if that's chilling, doing nothing. But I'm just saying, like, you know, I try to stay very balanced. You know what I'm saying? For me, balance is everything. So, you know, and the more I can paint, sometimes I hit some sprees where I've been, you know, I think I was pretty active last year and maybe the year before. I did some dope shit. Like, you know, me and OG Commer, I think it was 2021, end of 2021. We did this giant building, curated it, painted it. I was up on a ladder for like every weekend for like 4 months doing backgrounds and shit. And
damn,
I got dope documentation of the building. It's a lock shit down building. It's right there where they built the 6th Street Bridge now. And at the time they were building it. So little did we know that it was going to have full access to this, like, you know what I'm saying?
Damn.
And like, I got a sick rooftop, you know what I mean? Like, now the bridge is open. You can see it from the bridge and shit. Like, this is, you know, it's dope. And I got some dope documentation of that shit. It's definitely a piece of history, and I'm glad to have accomplished that shit. You know, this late in the game, for me, that's a big deal.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it took you 4 months.
I mean, it probably took a little bit more than that. I mean, the building's huge. I was
just showing my sons this humongous wall that this dude painted out here in Florida. And I was like, I don't know how long that shit takes, because they were like, Dad, how long does that take? I'm like, I don't know. I've never painted a wall like that. You know what I mean? I got to ask the homies.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a commissioned wall. You know what I mean? It was, a run up turned into a post up. You know what I mean? And so we were chipping away at it on weekends because everybody's old and works. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, but I was out there at 6 a.m. and like, I remember like hella heads come through, even that weren't crew, just see me out there solo in the middle of the downtown art district, just grinding through it. You know what I mean? Like I knew that it was on my shoulders, and Calm was riding with me, and I was just like, no, this is going to come through. So the wall is, people call it the lock shit down roll because we got big old rollers locking shit down. But it's also War of the Worlds, which was the theme that I went with, because how it went down is, like I said, it was a run up. Like we just saw this was a big ass building, and it was just a bunch of throw ups and whack shit. And so I was like, let's get some shit popping on it. Invited a few heads, and the heads that can bust, from the crew, and some homies that weren't from the crew, but they were just down with us. And everybody did some wild shit. And the manager or the owner came out or whatever, and he was like, like, what are you guys doing? And this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh, you know what I mean? We saw your building was just fucking got a bunch of whack shit. So we're just going to cover it. Like if that, we're just going to, you know what I mean? Just talk to him and spit the gift at him. And he was like, well, what's the idea here? And I was looking, and my homie had like some crazy ancient Egyptian shit going on. My other homie was doing some posh one, was doing some robots, and another homie doing some shit. And I was like, it's the War of the Worlds, man. You know what I mean? You got the ancient Mayans and civilization. You got robots. You know what I mean? We got aliens and all this shit by the homie Stro One. So like that freestyle just got him all hyped up, and he was like, all right, cool, So then we just kept coming back, and it turned into this big old thing. And I'll send you the video. There's a dope edit of it. And but anyways, man, and it really turned in that downtown art district. Like anybody that knows what's up in downtown LA right now knows that we turned that shit out, because then WAIs came and took over the building across the street.
Yeah.
And they did some epic shit. And then the whole downtown art district, like more concentrated stuff started happening. Like
this is recently?
Yeah, man.
Damn.
Yes. So that was a big deal for me to get accomplished, amidst all these records and shit, like to show the streets, like, I'm about this motherfucker. Like I've been down for a long time. And this is just another arrow in the quiver. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that made me think of something, man. Like I got respect for people that are doing art for a living. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to work. But I almost have more respect for motherfuckers that are working and then take all their free time and put it towards their art. You know what I'm saying? There's something really honorable about that. A man handling his business and then putting everything into his art. I feel like it's pure. It keeps the purity, you know what I mean? Like you're not just doing it just because it's your daily paycheck. You're doing it because you need to and you have to.
Yeah,
you know
that's right. Saying? Word up. Yeah, man. And I'm always been an individual that has been I'm always about trying to get better no matter what I'm doing.
Right.
Number one, but as a youth, it was all about survival and proving proving everybody wrong.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, period.
Absolutely.
I didn't have like, I couldn't fall back on, family, parents I was on my, like, you know what I'm saying? Like my parents were there, but everybody was dealing with their own trials. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They made me who I am, and they're kind of both on their gangster shit. So like, they had their own journey. So, I was raised with just enough know-how and the survival skills to turn nothing into something, what I mean? And so I just approach everything in life, like, whether it's music, like, motherfuckers in 2010 or whatever, motherfuckers are like, oh, you thought I was going to quit this shit, huh? Like, nah.
Yeah. Right.
Graffiti, hip hop, I'm driven to prove myself right more than prove others wrong, but that comes with the territory. You know what I mean? So it's hard not to acknowledge it in hindsight when you kind of think about shit. You know what I mean?
Shit, we do it to death, bro. Do it to death. I was just telling my brother-in-law that, and he was like, yeah, you should just keep going. If you ain't feeling it, then stop doing it. Then I was like, man, I've been doing this for 30 plus years. I've been rapping, bro. And I've been like single digits trying to freestyle and coming up through the ranks. And I was coming up when, in where I was at, only motherfuckers rapping were black. I was the only dude that wasn't black, so I was getting shitted on the whole time. It was getting pushed and pushed and pushed. I've always been that kind of dude that have to like prove you wrong about me. You know what I mean? Prove myself.
Exactly.
So then my whole point of saying that is like it's honorable, man. We do this to death, you know. It's like this is this is what's very special about our underground community to me, man. Because motherfuckers are still going at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And still doing it good. And motherfuckers are getting better. You know what I'm saying?
I actually was telling the homie the other day, regret for me times two. I was telling him I feel like, you know, we are currently in a renaissance right now in our community. I feel like, you know, we have to acknowledge our roots and what we did to start this independent hip hop game, and to be the contributors and influencers that we have been, because it'd be foolish not to think that we haven't been contributors and influencers.
Right.
Like I say that humbly, like I can say that now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, anyhow, my point is, you know, I feel like a generation went by where we were all sort of in our age group, a little bit a generation ahead of us. And, you know, we kind of hit this lull where everybody was still doing music, but everybody was kind of going through this thing. Right. And then now everyone is older, smarter, wiser, better. And the music is coming out right now. I feel like this is everybody's best shit, to your point.
More clear-headed too, bro.
More clear-headed, more mature. You know what I'm saying? You hear it in the music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
My album, this one that's over my right shoulder, left side for y'all, is the Poetry of War record. I mean, that's a reflection of the last, you know, 2 years. You know, the Poetry of War, the internal battles and fucking everything. You know, the songs talking about, you know, relationships that sort of led to divorce and all type of shit. You know what I mean? Even
did you do that cover?
That cover was done by Nick Knack from CBS UTI.
Okay, I didn't mean to cut you off because I was
no. It's all good. No. But that's hand drawn.
Yeah, I can tell
by Nick Knack. Yeah,
that's fucking sick, bro.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, man, it's a reflection of music. I think we're in a renaissance right now. I told you, I love everything you're doing. I love.
Same.
You know what I mean? I love what everybody's doing. I feel like everybody has leveled up. And so I feel like everybody's putting out their best shit, man. Like everybody's at that point right now. And then, you know, at the same token, you know, I think that, you know, hopefully good things come from what everybody is doing right now. Like there's this snowball effect, like we mentioned earlier, from all, you know, I see things happen. Things are happening. You know what I mean? Good things are happening for people. You know what I mean? And so, you know, and then the next generation, we're going to get old and it's going to be tough because we're going to see a lot of homies. You know what I mean? We already see homies that ain't around right now.
Yeah. Rest in peace, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to wait. I was going to bring that up. But before I bring up Poetry of War, I wanted to bring up the Cloaks and how you guys started working together. I know and obviously I know you two for a very long time. And combination's a good combination is what I'm trying to say, man. The Cloaks is hard, bro.
I appreciate you, man. We love Alpha, you know what I mean? Y'all shit is super dope too. And we love that we got you on the record. You know what I mean? That was dope.
I was just listening to it today, bro.
So real quickly, Clockwork Orange is the LP. If y'all don't know, the Cloaks, this is me, AWOL, and Awkward, our producer. D Styles and Sir Beans and Roach the DJ. We got 3 DJs in the motherfucker. We got Mestizo and Doses Alpha on the new record. But right now, I think we did a soft announcement on our Instagram, but that album is going to be, the whole album was remixed and it's called the Cloak Rework Orange.
Whoa.
And it's by hella producer homies. It's going to be a double gatefold vinyl. New artwork is going to come out in like September, hopefully.
Damn.
So there's going to be a lot of dope shit that comes with that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like we got some.
I'll be buying a copy of that for sure.
Word up. No, I got you. You're on the record. But anyhow, the Cloaks, how did we come about? So like me and Tony, like I told you already knew our history. High school graffiti. And so like, you know, all that time we're talking about in the 90s recording, like we were doing all these shows and I was always around. We were always rapping together. And like, at the end of the night, we were always rapping together, and like, you know, we doing too many shows where it was just like, we need to do songs. We need to do songs and have a set. Cause like, you know, it was just kind of like this running conversation and like overdue at that point. And then it was like, we put out the first mixtape. We had so many songs together. I think we put out a mixtape that had like, I don't know, 20 songs on it or something called Life Before Death.
Damn.
And it was just a mixtape of a bunch of different shit that like, we just picked 20 songs. We had more that, you know, mutual people that we were on songs with and shit. And so we were like, we need to do an official album and just kind of look at this as a mixtape. And then comes around like 2010, Awkward is in the mix somehow. I think AWOL did a single with him. And Awkward was doing shit with a bunch of homies, you know what I'm saying? Yep. You and a bunch of heads. And we just threw him the idea. One thing we were set on the Cloaks is we wanted one producer. And so we were kind of looking and waiting. And I had no idea that we would even turn out to be the Cloaks. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, you know, I thought we might go to Fat Jack and make a Mass Men Feel Good record. I didn't know where it was going to go yet. But my relationship with Tony is very like, you know, we kind of just always are just going forward. Like, you know what I mean? We don't really get stuck on anything too much.
Yeah.
We're just always building. We've always just been building. Always building. Oh, you like that? Let's keep going. You know what I'm saying? And so like one day after we established Awkward, I think we did a song and Tony called me up. He was like, dude, I have this idea, the Cloaks. I want to call it the Cloaks. And he started talking about, you know, what his vision was. And then I started throwing ideas. Just like I said, we just started building. And then we talked for a little bit and then we hung up. And then next thing I know, I was like, okay, here's a hook with this in mind. You know what I mean? And I sent it to him and he was like, dude. And then it just unfolded. And how my brain works, everything you see around you, like I'm a driver, he's a driver of our little, you know what I'm saying? And so like, we just built this thing fast and now we're fucking working. We just started the 4th album.
It's got to feel good to move with that kind of momentum, man. Just to see everything come to fruition just super fast, you know?
Yeah, man. It time flies fast. It goes quick. You know what I'm saying? When you're having fun, they say. So, you know, it's hard. It's crazy to think, but yeah, man, it's amazing. To be honest, to see like how it's affected people and, you know what I mean?
Awkward's a perfect backdrop for y'all too, man. Just both of you have such dark styles, you know, and he has but also very uplifting at the same time, you know, energetic, you know, and that's how his beats are.
I think the biggest misunderstanding about the Cloaks is that it is dark, but if you really listen to it, the message is the light and the dark. You know what I mean? If you actually listen, of course, there's some get. You know, we're getting at some motherfuckers too, but not all of it is dark. You know, the vibe might be, but like, you know, darkness reveals the light. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So you can't. That's just how it's gonna. And it's Tony's interpretation and my interpretation of how we build with Awkward. You know, me and Awkward. Man, we talk a lot, man. Like it's crazy how like I told you, man, like, you know, we all started doing this. We were young men. We didn't have no kids. Now we got kids. We're married. We're divorced. You know what I mean? Where it's like life is crazy.
We're men. Yeah,
and we're men now. Yeah.
No more little kids no more.
Yeah, yeah. So like, you know, Awkward's calling me in the middle of the night and he's like, I got this idea. My kids are asleep and it's like different time zone and shit. You know what I mean? But like we build though, man. We get it in. Like we get deep.
Yeah. I mean, all 3 of y'all are graffiti writers, so it's like you gotta be on the same wavelength at some point.
That's right, man. Yep. For sure.
That's dope, man. Yeah, the lyrics are profound, man. You and I have had a lot of conversations when COVID first started, you know, and all the shit that was happening, and we were throwing out all these ideas of what is possibly happening and going down, and now it's all happening. So it's a good outlet to have this music to express yourself with, you know, and actually be able to speak some truths within it to people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, for sure. I use different groups, my solo stuff, and you know this, you know what I mean? Like, not all of your solo material is going to fit an alpha record, and an alpha record is going to be an alpha record, and and a Gel Roc record going to be different than a Cloaks record. And you know, an Exalt the Anti record with Meg Abusive is going to be different. You know what I mean? The E times
That's
2
what
records.
makes it so intriguing, man, and interesting, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So the Poetry Award stuff, how did that come about?
Man, I'm just, you know, I was just DJ Jaw Blues, who's an amazing producer. If you don't know his material, for anybody that's listening, I strongly recommend you listen to that man's catalog. He's worked with a lot of dope MCs. At the time, he hit me up. He hit me up to do a song with Kazar. And I don't know if you follow Kazar, but Kazar from Project Blowed is a dope MC. Like, he's a heavyweight MC for sure. And me and him had been friends. We done already known each other. And it was just overdue time, and somebody else made it happen. And so and if so, we have a song on the album called Puzzle Fits. And that was the first joint. He hit me up and you know, it was actually like a commissioned song for me and Kazar. You know what I mean? He like wanted us. He like handpicked us and was like, I got this beat. I hear you two on it. And I was like, shit. All you had to do is just tell me is what me and Kazar are like. You know what I mean? I'm thankful that, you know, you put this together like this, but we're about to do this. And I turned my shit in like the next day. Like, I talked to Kazar, I was like, this is how it's going down. And then he works fast as fuck, and we had a banger. And I was just like, okay. And I was working on multiple albums, doing the Cloaks record, and you know what I mean? And Jaw Blues came back and was like, you know, I got another one for you. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, well, I actually started working on that building. At that time, I was sort of going through what I knew was eventually going to be a divorce. I was painting as an outlet. That building was a big challenge and task for me. Right. Like it had purpose behind it. And so I was like, then I had more energy to burn. And I was like, okay, start sending me a folder of beats. And he had ideas, I had ideas. And I was like, I'm going through a lot. He was going through a lot. And we were talking a lot about our both like internal, these little mini wars that were happening in our lives. Right. And so that's how that concept developed. And then, you know, me as like, I done made so many records. By that time, you already know how the vision took place. I was like, oh, it's Poetry of War. I got to do an acapella called War of Words. I got to do this. I got to do that. Like, it all just it all just unraveled how the magic in the music. You know what I'm saying? That's like my favorite part. Like, people know that about the process. But I imagine you're very much like me, that like at a certain point, everything just starts to click, and everything is like, oh shit, here we go, man. So that's how that record came together, and it came together relatively quicker than any record I had ever done to that point. Now, you know, however many years it's been now, you know, 25 plus years of recording, and then this record squeezed a bunch of creativity out of me, and it felt good because at the time, not only was I going through, it was the first time I actually finished the Cloaks record. I finished another record. So it was like the first focused record I could write where I wasn't working on multiple records at one time. Like, the Cloaks was coming to a close. You know what I mean? That was already done, not mastered and all that. But you know what I mean? I had my eyes on one thing. And so it was cool to get it all out with as enough substance as I feel the record has. Covers a lot of ground with a lot of homies and personal shit. You know, people don't know, like some people that know, they'll know how personal it is. Other listeners, you know how listeners, they all interpret it differently. So, they're just going to look at it as like, oh man, this is some crazy hip hop shit or whatever the fuck they think. You know what I mean? But anyhow, it was, that's how that record came together, man.
It's almost exhausting listening to you talk about how much you're doing, bro. Like, you work, you paint, you do music, you got kids, you're dealing with a lot of shit in your life. And like, my life is the exact same, bro. I work hard. I do music every chance I get. I'm doing this fucking show every chance that I get. I'm constantly raising babies and cooking and cleaning and fucking doing more and more and more. Jiu-jitsu, fucking working out, everything I possibly can. It's shoved into these little moments because I'm not a kid anymore getting fucked up anymore. You know what I'm saying? Just music and drugs, or music and street life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But it's a good exhaustion. Yeah, real creatives.
Real creatives, dude. Because like, you know, I think, you know, that's why people like seniors and shit or people that don't work, they have a lot of challenges. If they don't have the outlet, you know what I mean? And so I think like for us crazy creatives, like we got to stay busy doing some shit. As part of it's like therapeutic, you know what I mean? To kind of be doing a bunch of things because it gives you purpose too. You know what I'm saying?
Or self-destruct, you know?
Exactly.
Self-destruct without it.
And that's I think most of us are built that way, and some people just need to figure that out. Like I try to tell that to my son a lot. You know what I mean? My son is, you know, he's a young artist, but he isn't fully developed as you know his craft yet. And so you know, as those are little nuggets that I give him, like, yo, you just got to stay grinding. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's what this is about. You know what I mean? It's all hard work. It's all hard work.
It's all work.
Like you know, he sees that because of my output. And I try to be mindful of how much I don't want him to feel overwhelmed by the amount of work that he sees that I've put out. You know what I mean? Like I just tell him like, you got to see everything is hard work. It don't matter. Like you got to outwork yourself in order to see results at anything you want. I was like, you know, I tell him he plays guitar. Like you got to work hard playing the guitar. You want to draw, you got to work hard at drawing, and then you got to do some work you don't want to work. 9 to 5, you got to do hard work there too. You know what I'm saying? So you know how it goes.
I was talking to a homie yesterday and he was saying, oh man, seems like things are happening. You know, I'm like, yeah, things are happening, you know, with all this shit now with all of us. And I was just like, I don't focus on none of that anymore. I just focus on the work. But work is what I got to focus on now. Cause in the past I fucked up by focusing on like, oh, things are popping off right now. You know, that let's jump into what's going on over there with the party and then take advantage of all the you know, the praise we're getting. Yeah. Instead of just focusing strictly on the work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
So now that's where I'm at. I just work all the time. You know?
That's what it is. Exactly. And people ask me that all the time, man, how do you how the fuck do you do this? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, That's why I'm taking it in now. You know what I mean? Like I'm able to, you know, reflect.
That shit is tight. That shit is.
I'm able
tight.
to reflect. You know what I mean? Like it's been long enough. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm happy, but at the same time, I'm still grinding, dude. Like I almost lost my mind. I was telling the homie after this Poetry of War record dropped, we did like 6 or 7 videos to push it. And I was doing, you know, an online thing to push it, just, you know, campaigning the record. And then like, I moved into my new place over here. And then I hit this lull of like a month for the first time in like 20 plus years where I had no production. I didn't know what record I was working on next, or if I even had a battery for another record. And then now it's like been 2 months from that, and now I've got like 6 or 7 projects. I'm like, actually meaningfully deep in enough already. Yeah. Like where I just had to, and that is the crazy thing where I'm telling you, I feel like we're in a renaissance because I'm writing so much right now, more than I ever have. Yeah. And there's a lot going on, and I feel like everyone's doing that. Yeah. I don't feel special. I just feel like I'm just doing me and you're doing you, and we're all grown ass men, and we're doing it how we want to do it. If you're doing it right, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're doing it how we do it, we're doing it how we want to do it. And it feels amazing. You know what I mean?
It feels amazing to look around and see all y'all doing it, because I'm enjoying hip hop again. You know what I'm saying?
That's my point. The
homies are putting music out. I'm enjoying that shit again, you know?
Yeah. I've never been a hater. I've always been a fan of all my homies. I always vicariously live through everybody else's efforts. I play your shit to my girl. I play my AWOL shit and everybody's shit. You know what I mean? Like this is what I bump. You know what I mean? I listen to it. I mean, obviously I'm more diverse as well, but that's how I view everybody's shit. And even the graffiti homies, like, you know, I love to see what everybody's doing. It's just everybody's active, you know?
Man, I was thinking about it today too, man. My kids are going to be that generation up under us that's coming up, because all they've listened to is underground hip hop, and all they do is they draw on black books, and all they do is watch graffiti fucking videos that I'm pushing them into it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not forcefully, but they're gravitating towards it. So I'm pushing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just watched a CBS documentary the other day, and they're little. You know what I mean? They're just like staring at these characters. Their eyes are huge. You know what I'm saying?
Man, that stuff, all that, anything we could get our hands on, everything we grew up, all the culture we grew up on was mad influential to us. So, you know what I'm saying? Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's powerful. Hip hop runs the world. You know what I mean? Even if it's mainstream hip hop, it's about what the power that comes with the music and how influential the culture has been on all of us and how we've shaped, the culture and the stuff that, we're all part of that stuff that you're talking about, the fucking, all that underground hip hop stuff they hear, the CBS, all the homies in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm part of the soundtrack for that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I heard you in it.
You know what I mean? So it's all crazy, man. It's dope. It's dope.
Well, man, is there anything you want to share with us that's coming out? What's coming out next for you?
Like I said, the Cloak Rework Orange, it's an entire remix album. It's got remixes from Kenny Siegel, Meg Abusive, AC Alone. AC Alone has 2 remixes on there. He did the production.
What?
Yep.
Crazy.
AWOL's got a joint on there. Awkward's got joints on there. Controller 7 got a joint on there. D Styles got a joint on there. I mean, there's a lot of heads. I didn't want to start and forget people, but Paris Zax is on there.
Wow. I ain't heard his name in a while, bro.
Yep.
He's crushing.
Oh, dude, he's got some heat. We got some heat. There's some things brewing. Who else? I don't want to forget nobody, but there's a lot of heads, man. Much respect to everybody that did some stuff on the Factors on there.
Hell yeah. Shouts to Factor, man.
Yeah, big ups. So that's coming out hopefully this summer. It's going to be coming out by Mism Records in collaboration with Avalano Records and Ooh That's Heavy. So there's 3 labels that are kind of going in on this push with some other things that we're still trying to flesh out details on. So that's the next big record. And then I got a show. I just talked to Ab this morning. I'm going to play his Mood Pieces monthly gig that he does. It's at the Virgil. So I don't know when this airs, but May 11th. I'm going to be rocking with Maya Jupiter and Jada from Keep the Feel. She's got a new record. And yeah, man. So and then like I said, Cloaks 4 just started. We already dropped the first vocals and we got some heat on deck. We're super, super hype about that. And then I got a bunch of stuff I'm working on right now. I think that the next thing I'm excited about is the next Exalt the Anti with Meg Abusive and D-Ski. That's Meg Abusive and me rapping and D-Ski on the production and or post-production, because sometimes Mega's producing stuff, but D-Ski's doing, scratch work and anything he can to contribute. You know what I mean?
Monsters, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So straight monsters.
Yeah, man.
That's dope, man. Oh, real quick, Avalano. Avalano's your last name, right?
No.
That's not your last name?
No, man. No. Actually, Avalano Records is a word that the founder of the label, Cirque used to produce E×2 stuff back in the day. He created the label and he made up the word Avalano, which to him and to us became above land. So that was his underground, whatever the hell his brain was thinking. He basically he signed E×2 at the time. He was putting out mixtapes with what's the homie's name? One of the Black Eyed Peas when they were like at Bat Clan. He was doing compilations that had all these. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so he had all these kind of different things going on. And then he brought E×2 in after 3 Eyed Cows. And so then he took the label seriously. He was doing a lot of work. Anyways, fast forward 2003, he officially handed me the label. I took the reins. He knew I was becoming just like who I was becoming and pushing music. So I took it over and I've been leading that shit, wearing the flag. You know what I mean? That's my label. So I
don't even know. There's too many to count of the records that you put out, bro. There's
a lot. Man. So,
and I appreciate you putting them out. Much respect to you. I got the utmost respect for you as an MC and definitely as a graph writer too, man. I appreciate you and appreciate all the support and love through the years, man. I can't wait to hear all the new shit that's coming out. Shit's getting real, bro. The underground is resurging.
Yeah, let's get some new shit in, man. I know you produce some shit too.
I got something for you, bro. We'll talk off camera. Hell
All right,
yeah.
brother. Much
All right,
respect.
brother. Peace, man.
Peace,
Gel
man.
Roc.
Lyrical, lyrical, spiritual style.